So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a very short span of time within 30 minutes. Now, the idea behind this lecture series is that you get to cover your current affairs on a daily basis, but you don't have to spend your entire day just reading the newspaper. Therefore, we will cover the entire day's current affairs within 30 minutes. Now, just watching this lecture alone in 30 minutes would be job half done because you need to spend another 15 to 20 minutes revising this lecture. Why? Well, revision helps in consolidating these current affairs in your memory. Otherwise, you'll quickly forget them. Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes shall be shared on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. Alright then, let's begin today's session. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. So in total, we'll be covering or focusing on these 4 topics. Okay, these are the 4 topics. Number 1 in this list is pumped storage hydropower capacity. Now, this is very important infrastructure project if we want to become self-reliant when it comes to energy or electricity, power. Okay, so what is pumped storage hydropower capacity? We'll talk about this. Then, as you all know, that India put Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, right? And there have been calls from Pakistan's water ministry. They have been saying that they are ready to renegotiate this treaty with India. Okay, so what would be renegotiation of Indus Water Treaty be like? What are some points that India objects to? What are some things in this treaty that India objects to? Okay, so we'll talk about renegotiating Indus Waters Treaty. Then recently, Indian Meteorological Department, our weather department, has announced that it is going to adopt Bharat forecast system. It is a new weather model that would make our weather predictions more accurate. And this weather Bharat forecast system is indigenously designed. That means it is completely developed in India. We are not using any foreign models. So we'll talk about this. And recently, a very good news came out of Niti Aayog and IMF, which says that India has overtaken Japan to become the 4th largest economy of the world. That is really good news for India. So we'll talk about this news item as well. Okay, so these are the 4 news items that we shall focus our energies on. Let's start discussing them one by one, starting with pumped storage hydropower capacity. Now listen to me carefully. Look, currently India produces majority of its electricity from thermal power plants. Now these thermal power plants are basically based on coal. So coal is burnt and then electricity is produced through these thermal power plants. Okay. Now, burning coal releases a lot of greenhouse gases and that is a problem. Therefore, India wants to shift to renewable energies to generate electricity. And those renewable energies predominantly are solar and wind. Right? We want to shift to solar and wind, renewable energy, so as to reduce our carbon footprint, reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. Now, this is all good. Okay, solar and wind are really good. But solar and wind suffer from one major problem. And that is intermittency. Now, what is intermittency? Well, if the sun is shining bright and high in the sky, then solar energy would produce electricity. But if it is cloudy or is it night time, then solar energy would be of no use. So there would be a break. Similarly, that is the case with wind also. If wind is blowing strong, then you will produce wind electricity. But if wind is not blowing, if the air is still, well, then there would be a stop, right? Now, we cannot rely on those power generating things or plants that are intermittent in nature, that sometimes produce electricity and sometimes go silent, because we need there is a constant demand for electricity, right? Therefore, to solve for this intermittency issue, government is focusing on energy storage. Okay, energy storage infrastructure. So when sun is shining bright and high in the sky, you produce electricity. The electricity that will be consumed and surplus electricity would be stored mostly in batteries. Okay, now if you have a good energy storage infrastructure, if you have a good battery storage infrastructure in your country, then you can solve for this intermittency issue, right? Make sense? For that reason, government is basically expanding on battery energy storage systems. It is establishing battery energy storage systems across the country. But there is another way of storing energy. Okay, and that is that there is a reservoir of water. Okay, now when you produce solar energy, the demanded solar energy shall be consumed and surplus solar energy will be used to pump this water to a reservoir at a height. Now, reservoir at a height stores some potential energy. Whenever solar power plant goes silent, this water will be used to run turbines. So this water in the at a certain height would be dropped. Okay, from that height, it would spin turbines and produce electricity, like electricity is produced in hydroelectric dams. So in a way, you have stored solar electricity through this pumping of water, right? Plus, batteries require complicated technology. This is a very simple technology. That is why many people are focusing on pumped storage hydropower capacity, because it is simpler technology, easy to do, right? So within this energy storage infrastructure, government is not only focusing on batteries, it is also focusing on pumped storage hydropower capacity. Okay, so 3 private players have been shortlisted: Greenco, Adani and JSW. They are set to develop 2/3 of India's planned 51 gigawatt of pumped storage hydropower capacity. Majority of these pumped storage hydropower plants would be in Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra, since these 2 states have good potential for that. Okay, this is the reason to solve for intermittency. Okay, now what is pumped storage? I have already explained to you. This is basically a battery, the one you can see in your picture. Okay, but what is pumped storage? So pumped storage projects typically use 2 reservoirs at different elevations. During periods of low demand, solar power, surplus solar power, because there is less demand, surplus solar power is used to pump water from lower to upper reservoir. When there is high demand, this water is released back to generate electricity, and that higher demand is satiated. Now, at present, we have a capacity of 5 gigawatts as far as pumped storage is concerned, right? But India wants to expand it to 51 gigawatts, okay, by 2032, most probably. Okay, the thing is that India has the potential to generate a pumped storage water capacity, hydropower capacity of 176 gigawatts. So we have this much potential, of which we have only utilized 5 gigawatts, right? Now, let's compare pumped storage electricity storage system and battery. Okay, so pumped storage versus battery energy storage systems. One problem with pumped storage systems is that the projects, okay, that would build these 2 reservoirs have long gestation periods. That means to construct a battery requires very little time, but to construct these projects, it requires around 5 years. So problem is gestation period. To make these projects, it takes long time. Okay, but still pumped storage is better than BES. Why? Because batteries require a lot of critical minerals. And most of these critical minerals are currently with China. Okay, there is very little supply of critical minerals. That is why India is working hard to secure supply of critical minerals. Plus, global battery manufacturing is concentrated in China, and we cannot be dependent on China, right? So with battery storage, well, there is a China problem, right? That is why all over the world, well, 90% of energy storage comes from pumped storage. Okay. Now let's move on to topic number 2, and that is renegotiating Indus Waters Treaty. So as you all know, that India basically put Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance after the Pahalgam incident. Now recently, Pakistan, Water Ministry of Pakistan has recently signaled that it is ready to renegotiate Indus Waters Treaty with India. The thing is that it's not just the Pahalgam incident that caused India to renegotiate or to put Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. For the past 1 year, India has been calling Pakistan to renegotiate this treaty because India feels that some of the provisions of this treaty are unfair to India. And India has been calling for renegotiation for quite some time. But Pakistan was not listening. Now, after the Pahalgam incident, when India decided to put this treaty in abeyance, now Pakistan is saying that we are willing to renegotiate it. So, why does India want to renegotiate it? Surely there are some provisions in this treaty which are not, they don't sit down well with the Indian establishment, okay? They are not acceptable to the Indian establishment. They appear unfair to the Indian establishment, right? Now, we all know about the Indus Waters Treaty, okay? Indus and its 5 tributaries constitute Indus water system, okay? 3 rivers would be called Western rivers, which are Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. 3 rivers would be called Eastern system, which would be Satluj, Beas and Ravi. Now, Eastern rivers are completely given to India. So, India has complete access to Eastern rivers, whereas Pakistan has complete access to Western rivers, right? The thing is that 80% of the water flows in Western rivers and only 20% of water flows in Eastern rivers. Plus, India is allowed to basically construct some, use this water, Indus, Jhelum, Chenab water, Western rivers water, for domestic usages, non-consumptive use, okay, and to create run-of-the-river hydropower projects, okay, where you use the force of water flow to turn a turbine and then produce electricity. But apart from that, India is not allowed to touch these Western rivers. Now, India feels that this is unfair. The treaty is unfair because 80% of the waters have been given to Pakistan, right? Now, some of the key bone of contention or key points are, under the treaty, Pakistan got a higher volume because Western rivers have 4 times the water in Eastern rivers, okay? But India was able to secure exclusive access to Eastern rivers. Yes, India got only 20%, but India got exclusive access to these 20%, which India utilized fully. We constructed so many dams like the Pong Reservoir, Bhakra Nangal Dam. We constructed so many canals to irrigate Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan also. Rajasthan takes water from Satluj River through Indira Gandhi Canal, okay? And Rajasthan is irrigated. So we utilize it properly. But it is being argued that, well, yes, we are given some rights on Western rivers as well for domestic usage, consumptive usage, agriculture use, and run-of-the-river hydroelectric power projects. But still, it is unfair to give 80% of the water to Pakistan. It is unfair. Therefore, if both these sides are going to renegotiate this treaty at some point in future, then India should put forward following things. Okay, India should basically renegotiate these things. Number 1, India should renegotiate grievance redressal mechanism, Article 9 of the treaty. Okay, in case there is any dispute between India and Pakistan, as per this treaty, well, it will go through a 3-level mechanism. First, the dispute would be taken to Indus water commissioners of both India and Pakistan. If it is still not resolved, then it would be taken to a World Bank appointed neutral expert. If it is still not resolved, then finally it would be taken to International Court of Arbitration in Hague. Now, this is a 3-level dispute. And India has argued that Pakistan has blocked many of India's projects using this long, painstaking 3-level dispute, because it takes a lot of time to complete all these 3 levels. Okay, many of India's projects get delayed. In fact, some of the projects of India which are permissible under this treaty, well, Pakistan deliberately delays them by raising a dispute. And this is something that India doesn't want. Okay, India wants a quick dispute resolution, and so that India can quickly get back to constructing that project. Okay, plus India has always argued that the Kashmir dispute or any other dispute between India and Pakistan shall be resolved bilaterally, right? So why can't we resolve Indus water dispute bilaterally? Therefore, any new mechanism for grievance redressal should be bilateral. No third party, no World Bank, no International Court of Arbitration should be allowed. Plus, the second point is that within this treaty, there are some precise terms and precise measurements that are given with respect to the types of dams that India can construct on western rivers. Now, this treaty was negotiated in 1960, right? It was negotiated in 1960, and back then dam technology was quite inferior. Now, many new innovations have happened with respect to dam technology. Therefore, this treaty needs to be updated. Okay, that is the issue. Clear? So, these are the two things that India should focus on while renegotiating Indus Water Treaty. But yes, terrorism and water cannot go hand in hand. So, I am suspecting that till the time a solution is there with respect to Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, India is not going to put, or India is not going to remove this abeyance that it has put on Indus Waters Treaty. Okay, but if it does, and if this treaty is renegotiated, India should focus on these two things. All right. Now let's move on to third news item, which is Bharat forecast system. So Indian Meteorological Department will soon adopt Bharat forecast system, which offers the highest resolution among weather models. This move will significantly enhance IMD's weather forecasting capabilities so that we can predict weather quickly, especially with respect to extreme rainfall and cyclones. So what is this Bharat forecast system? Let's talk about this. Okay. So first of all, currently, Indian Meteorological Department uses a weather model, weather prediction model, that was designed by USA. But now IMD will use Bharat forecast system, which is completely designed in India for India. Okay, and this is designed by Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology in Pune. The best part about this BFS, Bharat forecast system, is that it gives you a spatial resolution of 6 km by 6 km. That means we can narrow down our prediction. Currently, the model, American model that we are using is 12 km by 12 km. That means IMD can make predictions for an area of 144 square kilometer. Okay, one prediction for this area. The problem is that within this area there are different variations. IMD cannot make any predictions with respect to those variations which are within 144 square kilometers. Okay, but with narrow focus, IMD can give narrow predictions, village level predictions also. Make sense? BFS is India's first indigenously built weather model. It is deterministic. That means there is no vagueness, there is no error in this. Okay, if you put some input, output would come out and you will be able to better predict the weather phenomena. Benefits would be improved forecast, weather events would be picked up quite quickly, okay, and better forecast for extreme weather events as well. All right. Now, flaws in the current system, and that is why we are adopting BFS. Well, currently we are using this system, coupled forecasting system, which was created under Monsoon Mission project. Now, this coupled forecast system was originally designed by US-based National Center for Environmental Prediction. Later, this was modified according to Indian needs and CFS was created. The problem with this system is it gives you weather prediction for this area, 12 km by 12 km, which is a large area. Okay, so that is the problem. Clear? But BFS would be better off. And plus it is completely indigenously designed. It is not based on any foreign system. So that is also good. Good news for Indian science as well. All right. Okay. And now we'll move on to last news item of the day, which is India, fourth largest economy. Very good news. India has surpassed Japan to become the world's fourth largest economy. Niti Aayog CEO BVR Subramaniam said, India is now poised to displace Germany from the third rank in the next 2 to 3 years. So currently top rank biggest economy is USA, then it's China, then it's Germany, and now it's India. Earlier it was Japan, and fifth rank is that of Japan, and sixth rank is that of UK. We surpassed UK way back. Okay, India is now a $4 trillion economy, and this assertion by Niti Aayog CEO is made based on IMF data. Okay, now what is this data? So look, the thing is that IMF comes out with a report known as World Economic Outlook. And this report is released twice every year, April and October. As per the recent report, well, India is the only major economy that is the fastest growing. IMF had stated earlier this month in World Economic Outlook report that India continues to remain the world's fastest growing major economy. India's GDP was $2.1 trillion in 2015. Okay, within 10 years, we have doubled our GDP. That's really impressive. Okay, according to the report, the high rate of growth will see India's GDP increasing to $5.5 trillion in 2028, overtaking Germany to become the third largest economy. The thing is, World Economic Outlook says that the reason why India can surpass Germany within 2 to 3 years is that India is growing fast at around 6%, 6 to 7%. But Germany is not growing at all. It is around 0% or 0.9%. Germany has stagnated, but India is running fast. So it will be quick for India to catch up. Okay, as you can see, United States is $30 trillion economy, China is 19, Germany is 4.7, India is 4.187, and Japan was 4.186. We will quickly surpass Germany if Germany doesn't grow, if Germany goes as the way it is going. If Germany quickly transforms its economy, then it would take longer time to surpass Germany. Clear? So good news for India. Okay. The GDP, IMF has projected zero growth rate for Germany in 2025, followed by 0.9% growth in 2026. Whereas India is going to clock 6% for the next 2 years. So definitely India will surpass Germany within 2 years. Okay. Now some information as far as World Economic Outlook is concerned. So remember, it is a report released by IMF twice every year, generally in April and October. It includes data on global output, global inflation, plus country level data also on real GDP, consumer prices, current account balances, unemployment of 190 member countries. That's it. That would be all from my side, guys. And that would mark the end of the lecture. I hope it added value to your preparation. In fact, I'm sure it has added value to your preparation, but it would add more value. I say this every time at the end of the lecture. It would add more value if you revise this lecture as well. So please do not forget to revise it. And I'll see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.